Underneath the glaring lights of the Glass Tower's conference room, Brielle Whittaker faced an uphill battle against the mounting skepticism of her father. "That's not your decision to make, Brielle," declared her father, Garrett, the CEO of Apex Energy, with a voice resonating like thunder across the table. Those words, "I see with authority," made Brielle's heart race, but she refused to show any weakness. Clenching her fists beneath the table, she retorted calmly, "With all due respect, I'm suggesting this because it's in the best interest of the company." Brielle, a 30-year-old visionary, had dedicated the past few years to Apex Energy, a leading electric vehicle manufacturer in Austin. This company wasn't just a business, it was the lifeblood of the Whittaker family, a testament to Garrett's hard work. Ever since she watched the company grow from a single idea to an industry giant, Brielle knew the weight it carried in their family legacy. "Impressive as always," Garrett said dryly, but his lack of enthusiasm was palpable. Brielle's older brother, Colton, always seemed to cast a long shadow, effortlessly thriving in the role as the heir apparent without ever needing to battle for acknowledgement. Unlike Brielle, Colton had ascended straight to a vice presidential position, fresh out of college and into the company's leadership circle, all without truly understanding the business's nuts and bolts. It was like everyone in the office turned a blind eye to his inexperience because of his last name. The room's energy shifted as Colton, ever the skeptic, leaned back, casually dismissing Brielle's ideas. "Brielle, this is electric cars we're talking about, not science fiction," he drawled, chuckling a little. Echoing his sentiment, several others chuckled, fueling Brielle's determination to fight against the complacent mindset embedded in the company. Advocating for innovation and sustainability, Brielle continued firmly, "I'm not suggesting we ditch our roots, but the industry is evolving. If we don't pivot strategically, we risk becoming obsolete." Her father remained inscrutable during this exchange, revealing no emotion. Yet later that evening, something shifted. An email landed in Brielle's inbox, a request from Garrett to delve deeper into future industry trends and compile a report. For Brielle, this request was a beacon, an opportunity to demonstrate her worth. Days turned into nights at her desk, absorbed in data and consultancy sessions, refining her perspective on the industry's future. Finally, with the report meticulously prepared, Brielle approached Garrett's office, anticipation and anxiety bitter on her tongue. Handing over the document, she captured Garrett's fleeting reaction, a raised brow as he fingered through the sheets. "Extensive work, Brielle," Garrett acknowledged, without much inflection, but to Brielle, it was a starting point. That simple recognition, a small but significant step in gaining her father's trust and altering the company's trajectory. As the boardroom chatter hushed, Brielle Whittaker felt the anticipation prickling along her skin. Her father, Garrett, the formidable CEO of Apex Energy, scanned over her report with narrowed eyes. "I'll dive into this and let you know," he said, his words scarcely warmer than a winter breeze. Though far from glowing, this acknowledgement sparked a glimmer of hope within her. Days slowly turned into weeks, the void of feedback gnawing at her confidence. Brielle surmised the report had been relegated to a forgotten corner of his desk, buried beneath a slew of daily crises. But then, while passing by the boardroom in one of the high-stakes meetings, she overheard the unmistakable nods to her recommendations, cleverly woven into his address. Garrett hadn't credited her, true, but Brielle saw the imprint of her ideas rippling through the company's strategy. Each small acknowledgement fueled her resolve. She could influence Apex Energy, subtle as it might be. This taste of significance stoked a fire in Brielle. She resolved not to rest, to earn her rightful place in a corporate empire never envisioned for her to lead. 6 relentless years crawled by, each step a testament to Brielle's unyielding spirit. Ascending the corporate ladder demanded a battle from Brielle, unlike her brother Colton, who slipped into key roles like a hand into a glove. By the time she marked her 30th birthday, she'd steered numerous projects, restructured budgets, and carved out a growing reputation among the younger executives. Her journey unfolded not merely through projects won, but through learning the unspoken boundaries of a world that rarely yielded to women. Every misstep amplified, every triumph muted, Brielle let her results assert her presence. By 33, her grasp extended over the operations division's vital cogs. Still not the apex, but she could all but touch it. In stark contrast, Colton, although privy to promotions, displayed short-sightedness that, to any shrewd observer, highlighted his narrow vision. Garrett either missed these gaps or turned a blind eye, and so the status quo lingered, or did, until tectonic shifts began. The air was a cauldron of tension when Brielle unveiled her strategic blueprint to the room. A composed pillar at the head of the table, Garrett remained inscrutable. Colton's exasperation, though, was volcanic. "This is absurd," he exploded, his fist a misguided gavel on the table. "You can't possibly think Brielle's plan tops mine." Undeterred by Colton's volatility, Brielle spoke with precision. "It's not about credit, Colton. It's about steering the company towards sustainable growth. If we neglect this shift, we'll stagnate." Garrett leaned in, his gaze as unyielding as the iron will behind the family empire. "You presume to guide us better than those with decades more at the helm," he challenged. Brielle paused, weighed down by the gravitas of her position. Yet, she revisited the countless hours dedicated to understanding the intricacies of the business, far from the fledgling corporate novice she'd once been. Boldness steadied her. "In this instance, yes, I do," she affirmed unflinchingly. Silence, weighty and electric, followed her declaration, her father's features transforming into a mask of stone. "That's it," Garrett declared, rising, his voice leaving no room for dissent. Meeting adjourned. As the room dispersed, Colton, sardonic, taunted, "Good luck, little sis," his smirk an engraved dagger. Maintaining composure, Brielle watched him leave, her hands trembling with unresolved energy. Remaining behind, she braced for Garrett's next move, her heart playing a relentless drumbeat in her chest. Once the door settled into its latch, the silence between father and daughter expanded. "Do you comprehend what you're initiating, Brielle?" Garrett's voice pierced the quiet, an edge to his tone. "Do you realize the optics of your challenge?" As Brielle met her father's gaze, she considered the cost of innovation, of audacious challenges, her voice unwavering as she took the leap. "Yes, Dad, I do." The air hung heavy with anticipation as Brielle Whitaker squared her shoulders, determined to stand her ground. Her father, Garrett, sat across from her at Apex Energy's long conference table, his accusing eyes fixated on her. "Inside these walls, Dad, I'm not just your daughter, I'm an executive," she asserted, her voice clear despite the nerve-wracking tension. "Here, it's about the company's future, not about pride." Garrett's initial look of impatience transformed, and he leaned back, his expression shifting to one of contemplation. "You think this is about vanity?" His voice, although calmer, bore an undercurrent of authority. "It's about understanding your role here. This legacy was built from scratch, and I won't stand by while you risk it all to make a point." Brielle steeled herself, maintaining her cool facade. "Undermining you is the last thing on my mind," she replied evenly. "I recognize the depth of your commitment to this company. It's just as vital to me. But if we avoid evolving, everything you've established might be jeopardized." The silence that followed was a loaded one, her father's gaze unreadable. Finally, he sighed, a reluctant nod acknowledging her boldness. "You've got nerve, Brielle, no doubt about it. But ambition doesn't automatically translate to wisdom," he warned as he stood up, ending the conversation with a definitive motion. "You've said your piece. Now let's see if your actions can match your words." Remaining seated, Brielle contemplated the tremors of adrenaline still lingering within her. Defeating her father's skepticism wasn't her only goal. It was about proving her own worth in a realm that didn't fully welcome her. The uncertainty of what lay ahead loomed, yet retreat was never an option. That afternoon, Brielle found herself opposite Nadia Fletcher, a trailblazer within Apex Energy and one of the few women in senior leadership. Nadia, impeccably poised and undeniably insightful, embodied the resolve Brielle sought to mirror. So Nadia began, delicately examining Brielle's documents, her practiced fingers tapping rhythmically on the pages. You're advocating for a major refinery overhaul and concurrent investment in renewables? Yes, Brielle affirmed. The inefficiencies in our refineries are untenable, and renewables are the future. Delay is not an option if we hope to lead rather than lag. Nadia met her gaze, her face a still pond. You're not off the mark, she conceded, acknowledging Brielle's rationale. This company desperately needs that kind of foresight, but let's be real, Apex Energy isn't exactly built for us. You can be brilliant here, yet still face dismissal if you're perceived as a threat. Brielle nodded, her voice softened by recognition. I'm aware. But failing to advocate for necessary changes leaves us stagnant. The numbers can only be ignored for so long. A flicker of admiration danced in Nadia's eyes. You've got grit, Brielle, and you'll need it. Being unyielding is exhausting, but it's the sole way to infiltrate this deeply entrenched old boys club. Nadia's advice echoed in Brielle's mind as she departed, her resolve hardening. Sure, this environment wasn't tailored for women like them, but she was resolved to weave her legacy into Apex Energy, surmounting any obstacles in her path. The ensuing weeks swept by in a blur. Brielle plunged into refining her strategy, repeatedly incorporating Nadia's seasoned insights. Late hours became her new routine, her desk a battlefield littered with coffee cups and market projections, the weight of the company's future a constant companion. One evening, her concentration on industry forecasts was interrupted by a knock. Glancing up, she saw Owen Blakely, a key engineer, standing in her doorway, ready for what felt like an impending revolution. As twilight descended upon the city, Brielle Whitaker settled into her office, the faint glow of desk lamps illuminating the scattered spreadsheets before her. A light rap on the doorframe pulled her attention. Mind if I come in? Asked Owen Blakely, one of the bright minds behind Apex Energy's engineering feats. Sure, Owen, she replied, gesturing to the chair opposite her. What brings you by so late? Owen settled in with a knowing glance at the documents on her desk. I heard about your proposal, he began, the corners of his mouth lifting into an earnest smile. You're on the right track. The old ways aren't cutting it anymore. Brielle's eyes widened slightly in surprise. You really think so? Without a doubt, Owen confirmed. The industry's landscape is shifting rapidly. Personally, I've been dabbling with some green technology innovations, but they haven't caught management's eye. Tell me more, Brielle urged, her curiosity piqued. For the next hour, they delved into discussions of cutting-edge technologies, reducing emissions, boosting efficiency, and seamlessly incorporating renewable energy into their infrastructure. It reignited a fervor in Brielle she hadn't felt in some time. Here was someone who not only grasped the magnitude of the challenge, but shared her aspirations. Why haven't you pitched these ideas to my father? Brielle inquired, curiosity tinged with a hint of frustration. Owen chuckled knowingly. He's not fond of suggestions from those outside his trusted circle, especially from a young engineer like myself. Considering his point, Brielle nodded. What if we team up? Maybe they'd find our proposal harder to dismiss. Her suggestion set into motion a collaboration that unfolded over weeks, weaving their plans into a robust proposal addressing both financial imperatives and technical strategies. Working with Owen proved invigorating. His passion was infectious and his insights invaluable. One afternoon, as they concluded another fruitful session, Owen regarded her with a thoughtful expression. You know, Brielle, you're not like the rest here. Is that a compliment? Brielle replied with a smirk. It's the best kind, he assured her. You genuinely want to make an impact. A warmth spread through Brielle at his words. I appreciate that, Owen. As their partnership thrived, so too did their camaraderie, spilling beyond the confines of meeting rooms and into shared coffee breaks and personal exchanges. Yet with progress came mounting workplace tensions. Her father remained unconvinced, and Brielle's brother, Colton, exuded hostility. At a family dinner one Sunday, the attention remained fixed on Colton's recent achievements. Golf trophies were far more celebrated than corporate innovation. Have you looked at Brielle's proposal? Her grandmother prompted, hoping to bridge the divide. It's bold but unrealistic, her father responded with a dismissive wave. Our current strategy works just fine. The familiar sting of frustration pricked Brielle's resolve. Father, respectfully, sticking to outdated methods won't sustain us forever. Colton muttered under his breath, "Here we go again, little Miss Visionary." Brielle sighed, determined not to let Colton's disdain affect her. "I'm advocating for approaches that ensure our longevity." Her father set his fork down, regarding her intently. "That's enough, Brielle. This isn't the time nor the place." Surveying the table, the undercurrent of tension unmissable on every face, Brielle felt an overwhelming sense of alienation. That night, she reached out to Nadia, a trusted mentor. "I'm not sure how much longer I can do this," she admitted. "It's like talking to a wall." "Change is tough, especially in places set in their ways," Nadia advised, her voice steady and reassuring. "But you have to hold on to why you're doing this. It's not just for your family, it's for all who rely on this company." Those words resonated deeply with Brielle, reinforcing her commitment. This was about more than family validation. It was about genuine impact. The next morning, she convened a meeting with the board of directors, resolute in her mission. With the backing of Owen and Nadia, Brielle presented their comprehensive proposal, ready to challenge the status quo for the sake of progress. The room seemed to hold its breath as Brielle Whitaker delivered her comprehensive plan to Apex Energy's board, the elaborate presentation a testament to her relentless dedication. As her voice faded, a stillness settled in. One board member finally broke the silence, tipping his head in acknowledgement. "This is truly impressive. You've presented us with a lot to ponder," he admitted, while Brielle's father, Garrett, sat stewing in his quiet dissatisfaction, unable to deny the compelling facts before him. Across from her, her brother, Colton, couldn't mask his simmering frustration. After the meeting, Garrett summoned Brielle into his office. "You're stepping on toes," he remarked, his tone a blend of rebuke and reluctant respect. "Perhaps it's time they were stepped on," Brielle retorted, her conviction unwavering. "I care deeply for the future of this company, just as you do. My goal isn't to undermine you, but to ensure our prosperity." Garrett studied her intently, as if seeing her for the first time. "You've certainly got resolve." "I'll concede that. Does this mean you'll consider the proposal?" she ventured, hope mingling with caution. Garrett paused. "We might need to discuss it further," he conceded, a hint of openness peeking through his stern demeanor. It wasn't quite victory, but Brielle grasped it as a crucial stride toward progress. As weeks morphed into months, a shift began taking root. The board gave the green light to a pilot initiative aimed at modernizing key facilities, and the initial outcomes promised transformation. Employees acknowledged the improvements, and even some of the staunchly conservative executives began to soften their stances. One evening, as she exited the building, Brielle encountered Garrett in the lobby. "On your way home?" he inquired. "Yeah, it's been a marathon of a day," she replied, fatigue mingling with satisfaction. After a beat of silence, he spoke. "The board's been impressed by your work. You've made a mark." Surprised, Brielle felt a flicker of gratitude. "Thanks, Dad." His nod carried the barest hint of a smile. "Perhaps it's time we worked in harmony instead of opposition." For the first time, Brielle sensed a genuine connection, a glimmer of the respect she had been earning with every challenge she surmounted. Later that night, she met up with Owen Blakely to relay the update. "Sounds like significant progress," he said, raising his glass in a toast. "Slowly but surely," she agreed, returning his gesture. "You've sparked change, Brielle, not just for the company, but also for voices like mine that struggled to be heard," Owen reflected, appreciation in his eyes. "Grateful," she replied. "None of this would have been possible without your insight and support." He reached over, gently taking her hand. "Here's to embarking on new journeys." As Brielle gazed into his eyes, a warmth washed over her, a rare and hopeful optimism about the future. Perhaps, just perhaps, everything was starting to align. In the ensuing months, the changes she and Owen set in motion began bearing fruit. The upgraded facility surpassed expectations, cutting costs significantly and boosting efficiency. The pilot program silenced many of the board's naysayers, and even Colton refrained from his usual scoffing, though his disdain remained thinly veiled. Garrett, however, continued to be an enigma. Though he increasingly included Brielle in strategic discussions, full endorsement seemed perpetually just out of reach. Brielle sensed his internal struggle, a tug-of-war between pride and an enduring reluctance to acknowledge her burgeoning leadership. The complexity of their dynamic persisted, a slow dance of progress and patient perseverance. One afternoon, Nadia Fletcher, a seasoned executive and mentor, visited Brielle's office. "You realize he's testing you, right?" she said, settling into a chair. Brielle let out a tired sigh. "I figured as much," she replied, setting aside her reports. "But what more does he need to see? The results speak volumes." Nadia smiled with knowing warmth. "For him, this goes beyond metrics, Brielle. It's about trust. You've proven your capabilities to the board, to the staff, and to the market, but for your father, it's a deeper matter. He must see that you're not just poised to manage this enterprise, but to carry forth his legacy." Leaning back, Brielle absorbed her words. "And how do I prove that?" Nadia rose, smoothing out her blazer. "Continue as you have been. Demonstrate that your intent isn't to usurp, but to lead with purpose. There's a nuanced distinction." With her mentor's wisdom echoing in her mind, Brielle continued to navigate the intricate web of corporate politics and family allegiance. Over time, she detected subtle changes in Garrett's behavior. He solicited her input more often, sometimes yielding to her perspective in meetings. It wasn't a resounding transformation, but it was tangible progress. As the boardroom buzzed with speculation, the turning tide came during a pivotal quarterly review. A prominent investor challenged Apex Energy, questioning if the company was ready for the evolving energy market. Just as Brielle Whitaker prepared to respond, her father, Garrett, stood up, catching everyone off guard. "Brielle has been leading the charge on these very issues," he stated, gesturing towards her. "Her initiatives in updating our facilities and exploring renewable energy are yielding positive results. I trust her vision to guide us forward." In the wake of his unexpected endorsement, the room went silent. Brielle saw, perhaps for the first time, genuine respect in Garrett's eyes, a respect not just for her accomplishments, but for who she had become. As they exited the meeting room side by side, he rested a hand reassuringly on her shoulder. "You've truly earned everything, Brielle," he murmured. Those simple yet profound words lingered in her mind long after the day had ended. They weren't a formal declaration of succession or complete approval, but they were a beginning, a recognition of her place not only within the company, but as a formidable leader in her father's eyes. That evening, she shared the moment with Owen Blakely, her trusted confidant. "And what's your next move?" he asked, a quiet smile lifting the corners of his mouth. She exhaled, confidence flowing through her veins. "I keep pushing forward. This is just the start." A year later, Apex Energy had transformed. The board unanimously backed the implementation of Brielle's comprehensive modernization strategies, driving growth that exceeded all forecasts. Investors hailed the company's innovative direction, marking it not just as a cornerstone of the oil sector, but a forward-thinking industry leader focused on sustainability. Her brother, Colton, gradually faded into the background, realizing he couldn't match the leadership demands and accepting a symbolic role devoid of actual influence. Garrett, recognizing that the company's future demanded genuine skill, finally ceased protecting him. One quiet evening, Brielle found herself in Garrett's office, the late hours marked by the soft glow of their shared commitment. He gestured for her to take a seat. "Brielle," he began, leaning forward with the gravity of decades in leadership. "You've repeatedly proved me wrong. You possess not only the capability to excel here, but the resolve to truly lead." Brielle listened intently, her heart a careful mix of anticipation and acknowledgement. "I've thought deeply about this decision," Garrett continued. "At the next board meeting, I'll propose stepping down as CEO and recommend you as my successor." The magnitude of his words was palpable, a milestone that once seemed impossibly distant now within reach. For Brielle, It wasn't just an inherited mantle, but a testament of respect bestowed upon earned merit. "Thank you," she said softly, steady with conviction. "I won't disappoint you." He nodded, warmth mingling with seriousness. "I know you won't." When the board approved the transition, the reality of her new role settled in. Seeing her name etched on the CEO's door was surreal, but Brielle embraced the responsibility with a confident heart. That night, gazing over the cityscape illuminated by Austin's lights, Owen joined her in her office. "CEO Whitaker," he teased, affection evident in his voice. "It suits you." She chuckled, shaking her head at the reality that once seemed dreamlike. "It feels like I'm in a dream," she admitted. Owen moved closer, reassuringly placing a hand on her shoulder. "You deserve this, Brielle," he affirmed. Turning to him with resolve grounding her, she smiled. "This is merely the beginning. Now, the real work begins." In the years that followed, Brielle and her father developed a newfound mutual respect, built upon challenges and trust. Owen stood by her side as both a partner and equal, sharing in the unfolding vision for Apex Energy. Meanwhile, Colton pursued his own path, allowing the company the space it needed to flourish into a beacon of innovation and resilience. With newfound resolve, Brielle Whitaker stepped boldly into her role as CEO of Apex Energy, prepared to guide the company toward the ambitious future she had meticulously crafted. The journey had been one of resilience, transforming both the company and herself in the process. In navigating challenges and forging new paths, Brielle built a legacy of innovation and strength, transcending the barriers she had once faced. Together with her team, she embraced the task of redefining what success looked like in an ever-evolving industry. The transformation was not just for Apex Energy, but for all those relying on its forward-thinking vision. Brielle understood that leadership was less about titles and more about the conviction to drive change and inspire others. And as the city skyline glimmered before her, she recognized that the real adventure was just beginning, one that would be defined by persistence, collaboration, and the indomitable spirit of progress. Every story of triumph and challenge contributed to her narrative, each step a testament to the power of belief and determination. With Apex Energy under her guidance, Brielle was not just leading a company, she was leading a revolution for a sustainable future. Thank you for joining us on this incredible journey. If you enjoyed the story, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us share more inspiring tales and ensures you're always in the loop for the latest adventures. Stay tuned for more, and until then, continue dreaming big.